Tom Richards stared at his computer screen, running his hands through his messy gray hair. The lab was quiet at 3 a.m., just the way he liked it. The quantum entanglement experiment had failed again, or at least that's what the other scientists would say when they came in for the morning shift. But something was different this time. The readings showed a tiny anomaly, a microscopic distortion in space-time that shouldn't exist. Most people would have missed it, but Tom had spent 20 years studying quantum physics. He knew what normal failure looked like. This wasn't it. "Computer, run the sequence again," he said, reaching for his cold coffee. The machine hummed to life, its quantum sensors probing the experimental chamber. Tom watched as the numbers flowed across his screen, his tired eyes growing wider with each passing second. "That's impossible," he whispered, but the data didn't lie. He was looking at a stable micro-wormhole, barely the size of an atom, but definitely there. The lab door opened, and in walked Kate Brown, his research assistant. She was early, as usual. "You didn't go home again, did you?" she asked, placing a fresh cup of coffee on his desk. Tom didn't answer. Instead, he pointed at his screen. "Look at this. Tell me I'm not going crazy." Kate leaned over, her professional demeanor giving way to surprise as she processed the data. "Is that a wormhole? A stable one?" Tom took a sip of the fresh coffee. "And you know what's really weird? It's staying open because of background radiation from the microwave in the break room." Kate blinked. "The microwave. Our lunch microwave is keeping the wormhole stable. Apparently, the specific frequency of microwave radiation is acting as a stabilizing force. It's completely by accident, but—" Tom paused, a wild idea forming in his mind. "Get me more data on that microwave." Over the next 12 hours, the lab transformed into a hub of frantic activity. More scientists arrived, more tests were run, and more microwaves were borrowed from the university's cafeteria. By evening, they had created and stabilized over 50 micro-wormholes. "The implications are staggering," said Dr. Wilson, the head of the physics department, as he reviewed their findings. "If we can scale this up—" "We can," Tom interrupted, spreading out his calculations on the conference table. "The math shows that larger wormholes would actually be more stable. We just need more power and bigger microwave emitters." "You're talking about building a faster-than-light drive using modified microwave technology?" Dr. Wilson asked, his voice a mixture of disbelief and excitement. "That's exactly what I'm talking about." Tom pulled up a rough sketch on his tablet. "Look, the principles are surprisingly simple. We're not fighting against space-time like traditional theoretical FTL designs. We're just making a tunnel and stabilizing it with something we use to heat up leftover pizza." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had been searching for a way to reach the stars for centuries, imagining complex antimatter drives and exotic particles. Instead, the key had been sitting in their break rooms all along. "We need to scale this up immediately," Dr. Wilson declared. "I'll call in every favor I have. We need funding, resources, and most importantly, more microwaves." As the scientists rushed to begin their work, Tom stayed behind in the conference room, staring at his initial readings from the night before. A small smile crossed his tired face. He thought about all the science fiction movies he'd watched, all the fancy spaceships with their glowing engines and impossible technology. Who would have guessed that humanity's first faster-than-light drive would be based on the same technology that cooked their TV dinners? In the coming days, as news of their discovery spread through the scientific community, nobody could have predicted how this humble beginning would shock the entire galaxy. The human race was about to step onto the cosmic stage, armed with nothing more sophisticated than modified kitchen appliances and their characteristic ingenuity. And somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was about to have the surprise of their millennia. 6 months after the microwave wormhole discovery, humanity's first test messages were traveling through quantum space. In a secured facility deep beneath the Nevada desert, Tom Richards and his team were celebrating another successful transmission when every computer screen in the lab suddenly went dark. Then, one by one, they lit up with symbols no human had ever seen before. "Is this some kind of joke?" asked Kate, staring at her monitor. The alien text swirled and shifted until it reformed into English letters. "Attention Earth vessels. Your unauthorized QUNTUM communications are interfering with Galactic standard channels. Cease transmission immediately." The room fell silent. Tom looked at Dr. Wilson, who was already on the phone with government officials. Within hours, the facility was filled with military personnel and hastily summoned diplomats. Ambassador James Miller arrived just as another message appeared. "Preparing for diplomatic contact. Maintain position." "Well," said Miller, straightening his tie, "I didn't expect my first alien negotiation would be about noise complaints." A bright light filled the room, and 3 figures materialized. They were tall, with silvery skin and formal robes covered in glowing crystals. The central figure stepped forward, holding what appeared to be a highly advanced tablet. "I am High Commissioner Vale of the Galactic Council," the alien said in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move. "We detected your primitive quantum disturbances across 17 sectors. Explain yourselves." Tom stepped forward, despite the security team's obvious discomfort. "We're testing our faster-than-light communication system. I'm Dr. Tom Richards, the lead scientist." The aliens exchanged looks. "Impossible," said Vale. "Your species hasn't even developed basic crystalline technology. Our scans show you're still using silicon computers and chemical rockets." "Would you like to see our setup?" Tom offered. Vale nodded, and the group moved to the testing chamber. The aliens stopped short when they saw the modified microwave array. What is this?" asked one of Vale's assistants, scanning the equipment with a crystal device. "It's our quantum communicator," Kate explained proudly. "We use controlled microwave radiation to stabilize artificial wormholes for faster-than-light data transmission." The alien's silver skin took on a slightly greener tint. "You're creating artificial wormholes with cooking equipment?" Vale asked incredulously. "Modified cooking equipment," Tom corrected. "Would you like a demonstration?" Before the aliens could respond, Kate activated the system. The machines hummed to life, and the familiar quantum readings appeared on the screens. Vale's assistant nearly dropped their scanning crystal. "This defies all known physics," they exclaimed. "The energy readings are impossible. You're using less power than our handheld communicators, but achieving 50 times the transmission speed." Vale raised a hand for silence. "Humans," they said carefully, "your method is unorthodox and potentially dangerous. The Galactic Council has strict regulations about faster-than-light technology. All species must develop crystalline drives before joining the galactic community." "With all due respect," Ambassador Miller interjected, "we didn't know there was a galactic community until 10 minutes ago. We simply solved the problem with the tools we had available." "That's exactly what concerns us," Vale replied. "Your species seems to have no regard for proper technological progression. We must insist you cease these experiments immediately and wait until you've discovered proper crystalline technology." Tom cleared his throat. "Actually, we're beyond the experimental phase. We're already building our first FTL ship." The aliens froze. Vale's translator crystal actually flickered off for a moment. "You're building a ship with this technology?" Vale asked weakly. "Yes," Tom said with a smile. "Would the Galactic Council like to attend the test flight? We're calling it the kitchen sink." As the aliens huddled together in urgent discussion, Ambassador Miller leaned over to Tom. "I think we just turned the galaxy's technological hierarchy upside down with a modified microwave." "Wait until they see what we did with the toaster," Tom whispered back. The future of human-alien relations hung in the balance, but one thing was already clear. Humanity's entrance to the galactic stage would be anything but conventional. The test facility buzzed with activity as the final preparations for humanity's first FTL ship demonstration were underway. Chief Engineer Mary Wilson walked through the massive hangar, followed by a group of increasingly distressed alien scientists. As you can see, Mary explained, patting the hull of the kitchen sink, we've installed 50 industrial-grade microwave emitters around the ship's core. But where are the safety crystals? Asked one alien scientist, frantically taking readings. Where are the quantum stabilizers? Mary pointed to a modified toaster mounted on the wall. That's our quantum stabilizer right there. And those old TV antennas. They're our waveguides. The alien nearly fainted. Inside the ship's engine room, more alien observers were gathering around what looked like a large, circular kitchen. Industrial microwaves lined the walls, their modified components glowing softly. In the center stood a device that resembled a giant coffee maker, humming quietly. "This is impossible," muttered High Commissioner Vale, who had returned with a team of the Council's top scientists. "Your power readings are barely registering on our equipment." "That's the beauty of it," Tom Richards said, checking readings on his tablet. "We're not forcing our way through space-time. We're just making a very gentle hole and slipping through it. Using cooking appliances." An alien scientist burst out. "This violates every safety protocol in the galaxy." "Actually," Mary interjected, pulling up some graphs on a screen, "our system is safer than crystalline drives. Watch this." She walked over to one of the microwave units and unplugged it. The aliens gasped, but nothing exploded. "See. If anything fails, the wormhole simply closes. No radiation, no space-time distortion, no problems." But, Vale stammered, "Your species was supposed to spend at least another 1,000 years developing proper technology. You can't just skip the crystalline age." Ambassador Miller, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "With respect, Commissioner, I believe we just did." The hangar's intercom crackled to life. "All personnel, please clear the engine room. FTL demonstration will begin in 10 minutes." The alien scientists scrambled to set up their monitoring equipment while the human crew calmly went through their pre-flight checks. From the observation room, dozens of council representatives watched nervously. "Beginning power-up sequence," Mary announced. She pressed a button, and the familiar sound of microwaves humming filled the engine room. "Starting the coffee maker. I mean, the quantum field generator." The aliens watched in horror as their instruments registered the formation of a stable wormhole large enough for the entire ship. It hung in space like a shimmering pool of light, maintained by technology that most species use to heat their meals. "Wormhole stability at 100%, Tom reported, grinning at the aliens' shocked expressions. "Power consumption at, well, about as much as a small coffee shop." Vale's translator crystal actually cracked from stress. "This is unprecedented. Unnatural. How can you be so calm about this? Would you feel better if we made it more complicated?" Mary asked innocently. "We could add some blinking lights and unnecessary crystals if it would help." Before Vale could respond, the ship's captain came over the intercom. "All systems are go. Beginning FTL test jump in 3, 2, 1. The kitchen sink glowed briefly, then slipped through the wormhole with all the drama of a bus leaving a station. The alien scientists' equipment went crazy, recording readings that their devices weren't designed to measure. 30 seconds later, the ship reappeared exactly where planned, completely intact. "Jump successful," the captain reported cheerfully. "Engine temperature normal. All systems functioning perfectly, and someone's lunch in the break room microwave is ready." The alien observers stood in stunned silence. Humanity hadn't just achieved FTL travel. They'd done it with household appliances, and it worked better than the technology the galaxy had been using for millennia. As the council members huddled together in urgent discussion, Tom leaned over to Mary. "Should we tell them about our plans for the teleporter?" "Let's wait," Mary whispered back. "I don't think they're ready to learn what we did with the dishwasher yet." The age of human innovation in space had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The kitchen sink cruised smoothly through normal space, preparing for its first official long-distance jump. In the ship's control room, the human crew worked calmly while a group of alien observers hovered nervously behind them. Target destination: Alpha Centauri, Captain Bill Anderson announced. Standard crystalline drives take 6 hours to make this jump. Let's see if we can beat that record. The alien observers exchanged worried glances. One of them, Dr. Ricks, clutched his scanning crystal tightly. Your ship's power levels are barely registering. This is madness. Mary Wilson monitored the engine readings from her station. Everything's running perfectly. The microwaves are stable. The wormhole generator is warming up. And she glanced at a small screen. Someone's heating up a burrito in the crew lounge. You allow food preparation near a faster-than-light drive? Dr. Ricks asked, horrified. The crew has to eat, Tom Richards replied with a shrug. Besides, it's all the same technology. The break room microwave actually serves as a backup power source. Captain Anderson's voice cut through the discussion. All stations, prepare for jump. Engineering, how's our wormhole looking? Mary checked her readings. Wormhole forming exactly as planned. It's actually more stable than during our first test. I think the coffee maker is running better now that it's properly broken in. The alien's translation crystals flickered in distress. Beginning countdown, Anderson announced. Jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The kitchen sink slipped into the wormhole as smoothly as a car entering a tunnel. Through the view screens, the crew and observers watched space fold around them in ways that shouldn't have been possible with such simple technology. Dr. Ricks frantically waved his scanning crystal. These readings can't be right. You're moving faster than any ship in recorded history, but your power usage is lower than our civilian transport pods. That's because we're not fighting against space-time, Tom explained, pointing to a diagram on his screen. Think of it like folding a piece of paper to connect 2 points instead of walking the long way around. The microwaves just keep the fold stable. But that's not how space travel is supposed to work. Another alien observer protested. Says who? Mary asked, adjusting some settings on what looked suspiciously like a repurposed coffee machine. Sometimes the simple solution is the best one. Suddenly, all the aliens' crystals started chiming in alarm. Emergency. Dr. Ricks shouted. Unknown energy signature detected. The human crew members glanced at their instruments, then relaxed. Oh, that's just Bob in engineering making popcorn, Mary explained. The sensors pick up all microwave activity. Before the aliens could respond, the ship emerged from the wormhole. The entire journey had taken less than 15 minutes. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored aliens, Captain Anderson announced, welcome to Alpha Centauri. Total flight time, 14 minutes and 23 seconds. A new galactic record, I believe. The alien observers stared in stunned silence at their instruments. Not only had the ship arrived safely, but it had done so while using less energy than their personal communicators consumed in a day. This changes everything, Dr. Ricks whispered. The Council's entire technological hierarchy, all our assumptions about space travel. Would anyone like some popcorn? Bob called over the intercom. It came out perfect, and I made extra. As the human crew celebrated their successful flight with snacks cooked in the same type of device that powered their revolutionary drive, the alien observers huddled in a corner, frantically preparing their reports to the Galactic Council. Just wait until they see the modifications we made to the ship's washing machine, Mary whispered to Tom. Who knew it could generate a perfect artificial gravity field? Tom grinned. I have a feeling the galaxy isn't ready for our brand of innovation yet. Captain Anderson raised a piece of popcorn and a toast. To human ingenuity, making the impossible possible, one kitchen appliance at a time. The kitchen sink floated serenely in Alpha Centauri's light, its microwave-powered systems humming contentedly, while somewhere in the galaxy, the Council's Technology Committee was about to have a very interesting meeting. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was in chaos. Thousands of alien representatives filled the crystalline hall, their voices echoing off the ancient walls as they argued about humanity's shocking breakthrough. High Commissioner Vale stood at the central podium, trying to restore order. "Please, esteemed members, we must discuss this crisis rationally." "Crisis?" Ambassador Miller asked from the human delegation's newly installed section. "We've just made faster-than-light travel more efficient and accessible. How is that a crisis?" A tall, blue-skinned counselor stood up. "It's a crisis because humans are completely ignoring proper technological progression. They're building spaceships with cooking devices. Very efficient cooking devices," Tom Richards added helpfully from his seat beside Miller. The aliens nearby shifted away nervously, as if afraid his casual approach to physics might be contagious. Dr. Ricks stepped forward to present his findings. His crystal display showed the kitchen sink's test flight data. "As you can see, the human vessel achieved speeds 5 times faster than our best ships, while using less power than a personal entertainment system." The chamber erupted again. A representative from the Crystalline Technology Guild pounded his fist on his desk. "This is unacceptable. We've spent millennia perfecting our drives. These humans can't just show up and replace them with kitchen appliances." "Actually," Mary Wilson chimed in, standing up, "we've made some improvements since the test flight. We found out that if you add a blender to the drive system—" "No," several council members shouted at once. "No more kitchen appliances." Vale raised his hands for silence. "The issue before us is clear. Do we accept this human technology, despite its unorthodox nature, or do we ban it as a threat to galactic technological standards?" An elderly alien with glowing spots stepped forward. "If I may, I've reviewed their technical documents. While unusual, their approach is remarkably safe. When a crystalline drive fails, it can destroy entire star systems. When the human drive fails, they just make more popcorn." "That's not a feature," protested another counselor. "That's just practical," suggested Miller. "Look, we understand this is different from what you're used to. But our technology works. It's safe, efficient, and yes, it can also heat up lunch. Why is that a bad thing?" Tom stood up next. "We've prepared a detailed presentation on how our system works. We're willing to share the technology with any species that wants it." The Crystalline Guild representatives practically fell out of their seats. "Share it? Just like that? Without proper technological trials? Without centuries of testing? Why not?" Mary asked. "The basic principles are simple enough. Most species probably have similar devices already. They just never thought to use them this way." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Not only had humans discovered a better way to travel through space, but they were offering to freely share it with everyone. Vale looked troubled. But what about the proper order of technological development? The ancient wisdom of the crystalline path? An unexpected voice spoke up, Bob from engineering, who had tagged along out of curiosity. "Speaking of paths," he said, munching on some popcorn he'd made in the delegation's break room, "has anyone ever wondered why the only approved technology in the galaxy is crystal-based? Seems kind of limiting, doesn't it?" The silence deepened as thousands of alien representatives pondered this simple observation. Many looked at their crystal devices with newfound uncertainty. Ambassador Miller seized the moment. "We propose a compromise. Let both technologies exist side by side. Let species choose what works best for them. After all, isn't progress about finding new ways to solve old problems?" As the council members began discussing this radical proposal, Tom leaned over to Mary. "Should we tell them about the teleporter we built from the dishwasher?" "Let's wait," she whispered back. "I think one revolution at a time is enough." The debate would continue, but one thing was becoming clear. The galaxy's technological future was about to become much more interesting, and possibly much more delicious. 1 month after the Great Council debate, the galaxy was changing faster than anyone could have predicted. The kitchen sink's revolutionary design had leaked onto the galactic internet, and creative minds across thousands of worlds were already experimenting with their own versions. Tom Richards stood at a viewport on the human embassy station, watching ships zoom past. Is that a microwave drive on an alien cargo hauler? Mary Wilson checked her tablet. Yep. Apparently, they converted their entire fleet last week, cut their operating costs by 90%. Below them, the station's massive loading dock was filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. Many had obvious modifications: jury-rigged microwave arrays, repurposed communication dishes, and what looked suspiciously like giant toasters attached to their hulls. The Crystalline Technology Guild is having a meltdown, Ambassador Miller said, walking up with a fresh cup of coffee. Their stock prices dropped 75% after we released those conversion guides. Speaking of meltdowns, Bob called from his workstation. You've got to see this. Someone in the Outer Rim modified their ship's food synthesizer into an FTL drive. They're calling it the Lunch Launch System. The humans gathered around his screen, watching footage of alien ships zipping through space using technology that would have looked more at home in a restaurant kitchen. It's not just ships anymore, Mary added, pulling up more data. 3 different species have figured out how to use microwave technology for planetary defense shields. They're cheaper, more efficient, and apparently make great planetary-scale hot chocolate during cold seasons. An alarm chimed, and a holographic news report appeared. Breaking news. Crystalline GUILDFILES for DNK Major technological corporation fails as human-style engineering spreads across galaxy. We might have started something bigger than we thought, Tom mused, watching more modified ships arrive at the station. The station's intercom crackled. Attention all personnel. The Galactic Council's Technology Committee has announced an emergency session. Earth representatives are requested to attend. They found the committee chamber in complete chaos. Delegates waved reports and shouted over each other while guild representatives tried desperately to maintain order. This is unprecedented, shouted one former guild executive. Ships are being modified in garage workshops. People are building FTL drives in their backyards. There's no control, no regulation. But they work, responded another delegate, holding up efficiency reports. And they're safer than crystalline technology. We haven't had a single catastrophic drive failure since these conversions began. Ambassador Miller stepped up to the podium. Perhaps that's because humans design things to fail safely. Our technology isn't perfect, but when it breaks, it just stops working instead of exploding. That's not the point, the guild executive wailed. What about proper technological progression? What about maintaining galactic standards? I think the galaxy has voted with its wallet, Mary said, displaying more statistics. Over 40% of commercial ships have already switched to microwave drives. And look at these efficiency ratings. The committee stared at the numbers. The modified ships were outperforming their crystalline counterparts in every category: speed, safety, fuel efficiency, and most importantly, cost. But, stammered a guild representative, what about our research, our development programs, our 5,000-year plan for technological advancement? Bob, who was once again munching on popcorn in the back of the room, spoke up. Maybe it's time for a new plan, one that focuses on what works rather than what's traditional. The chamber fell quiet as a new ship glided past the window. A massive passenger liner with microwave marvel painted proudly on its hull. Its modified drive hummed quietly, a stark contrast to the high-pitched whine of crystalline engines. Well, Tom said, breaking the silence, at least the galaxy's heating bills will be lower this year. As the committee dissolved into another round of arguments, Mary's tablet chimed with a message. She grinned as she read it. What is it? Tom asked. Remember the dishwasher-based teleporter we were working on? Someone just built one using their washing machine. Apparently, it works better than ours. The technological revolution was no longer just about human innovation. It had taken on a life of its own. And somewhere in the galaxy, a new generation of engineers was looking at their kitchen appliances with fresh eyes and big dreams. 1 year after humanity's accidental introduction of microwave-based FTL travel, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. The massive crystalline towers of the Galactic Council headquarters now shared space with smaller, more practical buildings, many sporting modified Earth technology. Tom Richards sat in his new office, watching ships of all sizes zip through the skylanes. A holographic sign floated nearby, Richards Institute of Practical Engineering, where simple solutions solve big problems. "You won't believe what just came in," Mary Wilson said, walking through the door with her tablet. "Remember those students from the Outer Rim who were experimenting with toaster-based shields? The ones who built a planetary defense system using breakfast appliances. They just won the Galactic Science Prize." Mary grinned. "Beat out the entire former Crystalline Guild Research Division." The office window hummed as a massive ship passed by, one of the new kitchen-class cruisers. Its efficient design had revolutionized space travel, making it affordable for average citizens across the galaxy. "Traffic control says ship registrations are up 500% this month," Bob reported from his desk, where he was reviewing the latest statistics. "Turns out when you can build an FTL drive from spare parts, everyone wants a spaceship." Ambassador Miller entered the office, looking amused. "The Council just finished their annual technology review. You'll never guess what they found." "Let me guess," Tom said. "Everything's working better than ever. Accidents are down 99%. Travel costs are down 95%. And," Miller chuckled, "the galaxy's average food heating efficiency is up 1,000%. "Well, when every ship engine can double as a lunch maker," Mary started. The room's holographic display activated, showing breaking news. "Revolutionary teleportation network is live, based on modified human laundry technology." "Oh yeah," Bob said casually, "that washing machine teleporter design we shared. Some clever engineers combined it with dishwasher power cells. Now you can travel between planets as easily as doing a load of laundry." Tom stood up and walked to the window, watching the bustling space traffic. Ships of all designs filled the lanes, some sleek and modern, others clearly homebrew configurations with visible kitchen appliance modifications, all of them working perfectly. "You know what the best part is," Mary said, joining him at the window. "Nobody's claiming exclusive rights to any of this. Everyone's sharing their modifications, their improvements. The galaxy's turned into one big open-source engineering project." The building's AI announced, "Incoming transmission from Earth Academy of Sciences." A hologram appeared showing a teenage alien student presenting their science project, a small FTL drive built entirely from spare parts. The judges, a mix of humans and aliens, were applauding enthusiastically. "That's the real revolution," Ambassador Miller said softly. "Not just the technology, but how it's changed the way everyone thinks." The galaxy stopped waiting for perfect solutions and started finding practical ones. Speaking of practical solutions, Bob interjected, "You might want to see this." He pulled up another news feed. Breaking. First intergalactic HFY Sci fuel, powered by modified food replicator technology. "A food replicator?" Tom asked, amazed. "How do they manage that?" "Apparently," Bob read from the report, "someone figured out that if you reverse the matter-energy conversion sequence and add a microwave array." "Let me guess," Mary laughed, "it makes great snacks for the journey too." "Actually, yes. They're calling it the dinner drive." As they watched more ships string past the window, Tom reflected on how far they'd come. What had started as an accidental discovery in a late-night lab session had evolved into a galaxy-wide revolution in both technology and thinking. "You know what," he said, "I don't think the galaxy will ever be the same." "Of course not," Ambassador Miller replied with a smile. "It's better." More accessible, more practical, and better fed, Bob added, pulling a fresh bag of popcorn from his desk's built-in FTL-compatible microwave. The new era of galactic civilization was well underway, powered by human ingenuity, practical thinking, and the surprising versatility of kitchen appliances. As the sun set on another busy day, thousands of ships zoomed through space, their modified household devices humming contentedly, carrying the dreams of a more connected galaxy into the future.